to episode 4 of Marriage Matters. In this episode, we discuss what others don't see in our spouses.
When Samuel was told to anoint Israel's next king from one of Jesse's sons, he saw the elders who had a great look about him, and he thought, surely this is the guy, because he was looking at outward appearances. And the Lord spoke to him and explained to him that although people look at the outward appearance, God looks at the heart. The outward appearance is what we're calling the surface things, but God looks beyond that.
Jesus taught his disciples that when they give or pray or fast, to do it in secret, so that our Father who sees what is done in secret can reward us, what we understand as below the surface. The lesson in the message is to learn to see what Jesus sees in our spouses.
But let's take this a step further. Not only does Jesus know everything about us right now, what is visible to others and what is beneath the surface, but he also knows what is yet to come. He knows what's in store. He knows who our spouses are becoming.
He will often speak into who they are becoming and mention secret things that are not yet visible and speak about them as realities. He is the God who calls into being that which does not exist or what others do not yet see. Just as Abraham and Sarah were told to call each other by names that have not yet been made manifest, we are going to be invited to speak by faith over our spouses.
So we need to learn how to see below the surface. So often we are tempted to relate to our spouse by what we see on the surface. But we are privy to far more than just what other people see. We're called to see so much more. We also see below the surface of their lives. We've seen their dreams, we've heard their heart's cries, we've shared their prayers, covered their weaknesses, dried their tears. We've also benefited from their strengths, found shelter in their loyalty, celebrated their triumphs. But beyond the surface, beyond even below the surface, we can learn to see our spouses for who they are in Christ. Because He knows everything about our spouses, and He also knows who they will become. And if we'll take time to ask Him, He will share those secrets with us about who our spouse is, which may not yet be evident. Sometimes He will ask us to participate in calling into being in our spouses what has not yet been seen.
So here is an exercise that will help you see your spouse as Jesus does.
Firstly, find a personal ability or strength about your spouse that you admire or has benefited you, and write it down. Then ask the Lord to show you what He sees. Ask the Lord how He sees your spouse. This is a tremendous exercise that we found very beneficial. It's amazing that God will share with you how He sees your spouse. And then learn to call what is not yet evident into being. Which truths from God about your spouse is Jesus asking you and encouraging you to declare, even if you don't yet see them? Attached to this, you'll find a graph that's just got a space for all of these, where you can have personal ability or strength, or you can ask to see what the Lord sees, or call what should you call into being that is not yet. And you can just write those down, and at an appropriate time, you can share those with your spouse.
It has been helpful throughout our marriage to ask the Lord how He sees our spouse.
We hope this exercise will be helpful to your marriage. In our next episode, we discuss a different perspective.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Marriage Matters.